Welcome to Hardly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today, we understand the book Crimes of the Centuries, The Cases That Changed Us by Amber Hunt, in which we probe into the ripple effect of notorious crimes on legal reforms and societal perceptions. Amber Hunt is part of the Pulitzer Prize-winning team at the Cincinnati Enquirer, where she works as an investigative reporter. Don't go away. Hardly, the editor, will be right back with the story. Let me share with you 3 unforgettable stories that illustrate how some of the most shocking crimes in history shaped the laws and societal views we hold today. We'll start with a case of mass hysteria that gripped a small town, followed by a tragic love story that challenged legal norms, and end with a mysterious murder that changed how forensic evidence is used in courtrooms. Story 1. The Witch Hunt Gone Wrong. In 1692, in the small village of Salem, Massachusetts, a wave of paranoia and superstition turned neighbor against neighbor in one of the most infamous witch hunts in history. It all began with a few young girls who, after exhibiting strange and violent fits, accused several women in their community of witchcraft. These accusations, driven by fear and religious fervor, quickly spiraled out of control. Among the accused was a woman named Sarah Good, whose only crime seemed to be her sharp tongue and impoverished status. The trials that followed were marked by the use of spectral evidence, where witnesses claimed to see the spirits of the accused tormenting them. This type of evidence was flimsy at best, but it was enough to condemn Sarah Good and many others to death. The hysteria reached its peak when a well-respected man, John Proctor, spoke out against the madness, only to find himself and his wife accused of witchcraft. Proctor's tragic fate underscored the dangerous power of mass hysteria when unchecked by reason or law. As one observer noted, the very foundation of our community crumbled under the weight of fear and falsehood. The Salem witch trials left an indelible mark on the American legal system, eventually leading to the prohibition of spectral evidence in courts and reinforcing the principle that one is innocent until proven guilty. As the panic subsided, the community began to reflect on the atrocities committed, setting the stage for the next story, where the quest for justice would be tested by a different kind of tragedy. Story 2. The Unsolved Mystery of a Young Woman's Death. Fast forward to 1799 in New York City, where a young woman named Elma Sands was found dead in a well, her life cut short just as she was preparing to elope with her lover, Levi Weeks. The case drew public outrage and intense media attention, with Levi quickly becoming the prime suspect. What made this case particularly noteworthy was the defense team Levi assembled, a legal dream team that included none other than Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Despite the circumstantial evidence against Levi, his attorneys managed to create enough doubt in the jury's minds to secure his acquittal. The trial was the first in American history to be fully transcribed, and it set a precedent for how high-profile cases could be influenced by skilled legal representation. The court of public opinion had already condemned Levi Weeks, but the courtroom told a different story, wrote a contemporary observer. The acquittal of Levi Weeks raised important questions about the role of wealth and influence in the justice system. It highlighted the need for a more structured and impartial legal process, one that would ensure that all defendants, regardless of their social standing, received a fair trial. This case, like the Salem witch trials before it, forced society to confront uncomfortable truths about justice and equality, paving the way for future legal reforms. But while the mystery of Elma Sands' death may have been left unsolved, it left an undeniable impact on how the legal system would handle such cases in the future. Story 3. The Shoe That Solved the Crime. Our final story takes us to 1845, when a criminal genius named Edward Roloff was finally brought to justice. Roloff had evaded capture for years, despite being suspected of multiple murders and other crimes. His downfall came not through the brilliance of detectives, but through a small, seemingly insignificant piece of evidence: a shoe. Roloff had been a master of deception, always staying one step ahead of the law. But his arrogance led him to make a crucial mistake. During one of his crimes, he left behind a unique shoe print that investigators were able to trace back to him. This seemingly minor detail became the key piece of evidence that finally convicted Roloff of his crimes. The case was a turning point in forensic science, demonstrating the importance of even the smallest pieces of evidence in solving crimes. The shoe that felled the criminal genius, as it was later called, showed the world that justice could be achieved through careful and methodical investigation. It also underscored the need for a legal system that valued evidence over speculation, a lesson learned from the failures of the past. As forensic techniques improved, this case would serve as a reminder of the power of science in the pursuit of justice. These stories, though separated by time and circumstance, are connected by the profound impact they had on the evolution of our legal system. From the mass hysteria of the Salem witch trials to the controversial acquittal of Levi Weeks and the forensic breakthrough in Edward Roloff's case, each event forced society to reevaluate its approach to justice. As the editor of Hardly, by studying these pivotal moments in history, we can better understand the importance of maintaining a legal system that is not only fair and just, but also adaptable to the lessons of the past. Reflecting on the transformative power of notorious crimes, one story stands out in demonstrating the lasting impact of these events on societal perceptions and legal reforms. In the 1950s, the brutal murder of Emmett Till, a 14-year-old African-American boy from Chicago, shocked the nation. Till was visiting family in Mississippi when he was accused of whistling at a white woman, a claim that led to his abduction, torture, and murder by 2 white men. The murder trial that followed was a sham, with the defendants quickly acquitted by an all-white jury despite overwhelming evidence of their guilt. This blatant miscarriage of justice sparked outrage across the country and became a catalyst for the civil rights movement. Till's death was a stark reminder of the deep-seated racial injustices that permeated American society. The open casket of Emmett Till was a powerful statement against the brutality and dehumanization faced by African Americans, a witness later remarked. It brought the harsh realities of racial violence into the living rooms of Americans, igniting a movement that would forever change the nation's conscience. By examining these stories, we see how each crime, in its way, challenged the status quo and prompted significant societal and legal changes. As the editor of Hardly, through understanding these pivotal moments in history, we recognize the importance of learning from the past to build a more just and equitable future, where lessons of history guide us toward greater fairness and compassion.